Let's say China.
China.
China. China.
There are next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Well, hello. I am James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, which my mum and dad have said is definitely the best news program that they have ever heard. It's Wednesday, the 31st of May, 2017. And today, in the Afghan capital of Kabul, a bomb was set off, a car bomb. It looks like it's killed at least 90 people, with hundreds more injured. We send our thoughts over to people there, and we hope that everybody who is injured can recover from this. It's an awful thing. And in news a little bit closer to town, the comedian, Kathy Griffin, has been fired by CNN for her photograph of the severed head of Donald Trump that she posted on Twitter. If you haven't seen the image, it's really not worth looking at. It was in pretty bad taste. It was a pretty sick image. As much as we dislike Donald Trump here at So This Happened, we would never wish death on any human being at all. So Kathy, not the smartest move. She came out, apologized, but I think CNN did the right thing in letting her go. You can't do that. It's just not right. And now I would like to turn our attention to my home country, to England's green and pleasant land, where a general election set for June 8th was 2 weeks ago rather boring. When Theresa May called for a general election, it was fairly widely understood that she would be winning and would probably increase her majority in Parliament. However, over the last few weeks, and particularly over the last few days, the Labour Party, led by Mr. Jeremy Corbyn, has been catching up. And today, one poll came out saying that potentially Labour could force a hung parliament, and if they were to join forces with another party, perhaps the Lib Dems, they could in fact form a government ahead of Theresa May. Now, this particular projection has sent shockwaves through Westminster, and in particular through Theresa May's Conservative Party. It was thought up until this poll came out that there was no chance Labour could even get a whiff of being in government, but now Jeremy Corbyn, so excited by this, decided that he would in fact join a televised debate. Theresa May did not. So Jeremy was up there with 6 other candidates from other parties, and no Theresa May. Now, this projection does come with some very large caveats. It does have an absolutely massive margin of error built into it. Other polls in recent days have suggested that Theresa May's majority is safe. But this is the first time a poll has come out which is showing us a hung parliament where, either party would have to team up with another party in order to form a majority to become the government. It's particularly worrying for the Conservative Party because over the last few days their lead has been shrinking in all of the polls. So you might be asking, what does this do for Brexit? Are England, or Great Britain I should say, still going to leave Europe? Yes. Whoever becomes the Prime Minister, Brexit is on. There is no going back on that. That's a done deal. So, not far to go now. We'll have to see what happens. But if the projections keep going as they are, with Labour increasing and the Tories, which is the Conservative Party, reducing their majority, it's going to turn into a very interesting June 8th. It's also Mrs. Andrews' birthday, so like I said, quite a few episodes ago when Theresa May announces, I'm going to have to keep one eye on my phone and one eye on the dinner table talking to Mrs. Andrews about anything but politics. It's going to be tricky. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. And James Comey is also back in the news today. It appears that he will now, next week, make a public appearance to testify about the Trump-Russia allegations. Now, it has been suggested by multiple sources that he will not comment on Russian collusion within the election, and what he's going to talk about is that memo, the one in which Donald Trump asked James Comey to drop the investigation into Michael Flynn. Now, CNN is reporting that James Comey will say yes, the memo did exist and Donald Trump did indeed ask me to stop investigating Michael Flynn. That is from a source within CNN. We'll have to wait and see next week what happens, but I am not massively hopeful, to be honest. We've seen James Comey a few times before testifying, and there was always a big build-up saying he's gonna break it, and then he got there and, basically said, sorry, I can't answer that question, to every fucking thing that anybody asked him, and it was really, really frustrating. So I will be watching it, and but I'm not really expecting much. It would be spectacular if he came out and said, yeah, Donald Trump told me to stop the investigation, he asked me to sign, loyalties to him only. I would love it. But I don't want to get anybody's hopes up because, James Comey, he's let us down before, people. He has let us down before. Sorry, I can't answer that. That's national security. We'll see. It's going to be good. And I cannot let today go without mentioning Donald Trump's spelling mistake that he made on Twitter at 12:05 this morning when he tweeted the word Covfefe. Covfefe. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have had a bag over your head all day because the memes that have been coming out on this have been spectacular. I've done about 10 myself on Twitter, which I'm sure has annoyed everybody because I'm probably the world's worst Photoshopper, and they just look like a 5-year-old did them with in class where they just had little bits of paper that they stuck on. It looks awful, but fantastic. But it does beg the question is why was Donald Trump tweeting at 12:05 in the morning, and why did he just send this tweet off and not delete it until 6 o'clock the following morning? That was this morning. So it was up for 6 hours, which in Twitter world is an eternity. But is there nobody watching this man? Are there no advisors sort of looking at Twitter going, oh shit, he's done something again, which is stupid. Donald, take that down. There's just nobody, is there? It's awesome. Okay, and I'm just reading my Twitter feed right now, and somebody just pointed out that, what I said about Kathy Griffin earlier, I tweeted something similar to that. And this person said, yeah, but didn't the Republicans and, anti-Obama people make burning effigies of Obama, and nobody was particularly upset about that in the GOP, yet they're raising hell about this Kathy Griffin thing? Well, I think it's all shit. Whether you're burning an effigy of Barack Obama or whether you've got Donald Trump's head, in your hand covered in blood, it's all fucking sick, man. None of it's cool. So I stand by my statement. It was a stupid thing for Kathy Griffin to do, and I think she was, fired for good reason. Sorry if that offends anyone, but that's just how it is. I think you just don't make fun of that with anybody. And GOP, they're hypocrites. We all know that. They've always been that way. But for me personally, it doesn't matter who you're doing. You don't do that. It's not cool. It's not funny. It's not big. Anyway. And to save me, Trump Vader has just popped his head up at the window. So come in, mate. What? Oh, hang on. It's locked. All right. Okay, hello. Here he is. He doesn't want to talk. No, he's very important. He just wants to read his tweet. Yes, he's a very, very busy Dark Lord of the GOP. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trump Vader's tweet.
I will be announcing my decision on the Paris Accord over the next few days. Make America great again.
Oh, well, that was very interesting, Trump Vader. You do love to keep people in, suspense, don't you? You think this whole, political thing's just a big fucking TV show, don't you? You do, yeah. Well, listen, he was here, he read his tweet, and he lives for his round of applause. He needs it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trump Vader. Oh, it's not a very big one, is it, today? He's off. He's not happy with that, actually. He's left the studio. Well, I think that just shows that many people are not thrilled about Trump making a decision on the Paris Accord. So, let's have a look at it, shall we? The 2015 Climate Change Accord was signed by 195 countries. Now, it looks very likely that Donald Trump will be pulling the US out of this accord, and that is going to have very wide-reaching effects around the world. There are a number of countries that are in this accord because they said, yeah, the US has signed it, they're the big boys on the street, we need to sign it as well. And even opinion in the White House is very split on this issue. There are people who are saying, we've got to get out of it, and there are also people who are saying, no, we have to stay in it. Now, one of those people is Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. He has advocated that the US remain part of the Paris Accords. Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, she has said we need to remain part of the Paris Accord, as has Jared Kushner. Although, does he really listen to Jared anymore? Well, that's debatable. Even the bloody Pope said to Trump that he should remain in the Paris Accord. Pretty much every Democrat and, a number of House Republicans and also, ExxonMobil. Yeah, the oil company wants Trump to remain in the agreement. Now, who doesn't? Well, not surprisingly, the EPA chief, Scott Pruitt. What a fucking idiot. And then also that man-shaped genital wart, Steve Bannon, he would also like the US to drop out of it. A number of House Republicans and senators and the Mining Association. No big surprise there. Now, they are arguing that pulling out of the climate accord will be good for American jobs and good for the economy. But will it? So first, let's look at Donald Trump's pet industry, big coal. That's been one of his points throughout his entire campaign and his presidency is he's going to bring coal jobs back to America. Well, the American coal industry relies on exports. That is their big moneymaker, is exporting coal to other countries. Now, if the US drops out of the Paris Climate Accord, they are no longer going to be creating this so-called clean coal that the Paris Climate Accord would require. Therefore, exporting to countries, i.e. 195 countries in the Paris Accord, they won't be able to do that anymore because their coal will not be deemed clean coal and therefore will not be allowed to be exported to any of these 195 countries that remain in the Paris Accord. And not to mention that the demand for clean energy, solar power, wind power, etc., the demand for those jobs is so much higher than it is for coal. It just makes no sense to put all our eggs in the dark black coal basket. And it is widely accepted by pretty much everybody except Republicans in the US that climate change is a real thing and that within the century carbon-based fuels will be phased out. So doesn't it make sense right now to get in on this clean energy and become a leader in that so that when the time comes when these fossil fuels, the oil, the gas, the coal, is no longer, the US will be there saying, yes, and we have all this ready to export to you because we invested heavily in this when we should have. But no, because Donald Trump and his administration and a lot of Republicans are saying, no, climate change doesn't exist. It's a myth. It was invented by the Chinese, the British, the Germans, the French, the Italians, the Spanish, every other fucking country in the world that has agreed climate change is a real thing. And we are out of time. So, thank you very much for listening. I will chat with you again tomorrow. Have a great evening. Peace.